I used to believe that love was enough, that if you worked hard, stayed faithful, and put your family first, everything else would fall into place. And for a long time, it did. We weren't rich, but we had each other. That used to be enough. Now, looking back, I see the cracks forming long before they split wide open. Our little life. We had been married for 5 years when our daughter, Lily, was born. She was tiny, wrinkled, and had my wife's piercing blue eyes. I remember holding her. For the first time, her little fingers wrapping around mine and thinking, this is it. This is happiness. The sleepless nights were brutal, but I didn't mind. I'd wake up at 2 in the morning to the sound of crying and find my wife already pacing the living room, bouncing Lily gently. I'd take over, letting my wife rest, and whisper stories to my daughter as she nestled against my chest. It was exhausting, but we made it work. We were a team, or at least I thought we were. Somewhere along the way, she stopped looking at me like I was part of that team. It started small. She became quieter. Not in an obvious screaming for attention way, but in the way a person slowly backs out of a room without saying goodbye. At first, I blamed exhaustion. Newborns took a toll on both parents, and I figured she just needed time. But soon, exhaustion turned into distance. She spent more time on her phone. She was never the kind of woman to obsess over social media, but suddenly, she always had her screen in front of her. When I walked into the room, she'd angle it away from me, her fingers slowing on the keyboard. One night, I came home from work and found her sitting at the kitchen table, staring at her phone with a small, secretive smile on her lips. The kind of smile she used to have for me. I kissed the top of her head. "What's so funny?" She locked her phone instantly. "Nothing," she said, brushing past me to grab a glass of water. I stood there watching her, feeling something cold settle in my stomach. Dinner time used to be our thing. We'd cook together, tease each other over who chopped onions faster. Sometimes she'd dance around the kitchen, dramatically singing old pop songs while I rolled my eyes and told her she sounded terrible. Now, dinner was quiet. She'd cook alone, or not at all. Some nights she barely touched her plate, pushing food around with her fork while scrolling through her phone. "Lily said dog today," I said one evening, trying to start a conversation. She nodded absently, still staring at the screen. I cleared my throat. "Did you hear me?" "What?" She looked up, distracted. "Lily." She said, "Dog. Oh. That's nice." She forced a small smile before going right back to her phone. I clenched my jaw, pushing back the frustration. I wanted to shake her, to remind her that our life, our daughter, our little moments mattered. Instead, I just sat there, feeling invisible. One night, I woke up to an empty bed. I found her in the living room, curled up on the couch, phone screen illuminating her face. She was typing fast, her expression soft, almost affectionate. Something inside me twisted. I cleared my throat, making her jump. "Jesus," she muttered, clutching her chest. "You scared me." I folded my arms. "Who are you talking to?" She frowned. "What? You're always on your phone late at night. You barely talk to me anymore." She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on, don't start." "I'm serious," I said, voice tighter than I intended. "It's like you're not even here." She sighed and locked her phone, placing it face down. "It's just online stuff. I need a break from reality sometimes, you know?" "Reality?" I scoffed. "You mean our life?" She groaned, rubbing her temples. "God, you're exhausting." I flinched. We stared at each other in the dim light, something heavy settling between us. Finally, she grabbed her phone and stormed past me, back to the bedroom, leaving me standing there, alone. A few days later, she started making comments. Not about me directly, at least not at first. "You know, Madison's husband just got promoted. They're moving into a 4-bedroom house." Or, "It must be nice to just travel whenever you want. Some people have it figured out." One evening, she sat across from me, scrolling through her phone while Lily played with her stuffed rabbit on the floor. She sighed. Look at this. She turned the screen to me, some influencer in a massive penthouse, champagne in hand, perfect hair, perfect life. I forced a smile. Good for them. She rolled her eyes. You don't get it. I put my fork down. Then explain it to me. She hesitated, then shrugged. I feel stuck. Like we're wasting time. Like there's more out there. I exhaled slowly. We have a daughter, a home, a life together. Isn't that enough? She didn't answer. But the way she looked at me like she was already gone told me everything. The night everything changed, I came home late from work. The house was quiet, except for the faint sound of my wife's voice in the living room. It wasn't loud, but it was urgent, soft, intimate. I stopped in the hallway, just out of sight. No, I swear, I just need more time. Yes, of course I want to. No, it's not like that. A pause, then softer, almost guilty. I love you too. I stepped into the room before I could stop myself. She gasped, locking her phone so fast she nearly dropped. But it was too late. I had already seen the open chat window. There was a name I didn't recognize, a message still glowing on the screen. I booked the tickets. I can't wait to finally hold you. She stared at me, wide-eyed, phone clutched in her hands like she could somehow make it all disappear. I didn't say a word. I just turned and walked away, and for the first time I knew. I was about to lose everything. I woke up to silence. Not the kind of morning silence where the world is still stretching awake, but a hollow silence, the kind that doesn't feel right. Lily usually woke me up by crawling into my bed and patting my face. But that morning there was no tiny hand slapping my cheek, no giggles, no scent of my wife's perfume lingering in the air. I sat up, rubbing my eyes, and glanced at the alarm clock. 8:12 a.m. Too late. She was usually up by now. I stepped into the hallway, expecting to hear the shower running or the clatter of cereal being poured into Lily's favorite pink bowl. Nothing. The bedroom door was wide open. The closet door, too. And that's when I saw it. Half the closet was empty. Her side of the dresser drawers, open and bare. Her shoes, gone. A cold wave crashed over me. I checked the bathroom. Empty. The kitchen, spotless. I called her name, my voice bouncing off the walls. Silence. Then I sprinted to Lily's room, heart pounding, but there she was, fast asleep, her little chest rising and falling under the blankets. I touched her forehead. Warm, breathing, safe. My wife was gone, but she had left Lily behind. That should have given me relief. Instead, it terrified me even more. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I called again, and again, and again. Nothing. Panic turned my veins to ice. I grabbed my keys, scooped Lily up, and drove, first to her favorite coffee shop, then to the grocery store, then to every place I could think of where she might have gone to clear her head. Nothing. I called her mother. She didn't know anything. I called her friends. A long silence. Then, I don't think she wants to be found. That's when it hit me. She didn't disappear. She left. I went home, put Lily in front of the TV with her favorite cartoon, and tore through the house like a man possessed. I searched for anything, a note, a clue, a damn reason why she had done this. And then, in the desk drawer where we kept old bills and forgotten paperwork, I found it. A printed email. I unfolded it with shaking hands from Marcello M. Subject, Our future. My love, the time is near. I have booked the flights. Soon you will be here in my arms, where you belong. No more waiting. No more hiding. You deserve this life, this happiness. You deserve more than a man who will never give you the world. I will be waiting at the airport, as promised. Come to me, my love. Let me give you everything you have ever dreamed of. I dropped the paper. My fingers curled into a fist so tight my nails dug into my palm. She had been planning this. While I was working overtime, busting my ass to keep our family afloat, she was sending love letters to a stranger across the ocean. She had been waiting for the right moment to run, and she didn't even have the decency to tell me to my face. 3 days later, I heard the front door unlock. I turned, heart hammering, and there she stood, calm, composed, like she hadn't just shattered my world. Her hair was neatly styled, her makeup flawless, her nails freshly painted, like she had stepped out for coffee. Didn't speak. I just stared. She met my eyes, tilting her head slightly, as if assessing how much damage she had done. Then she sighed. A sigh, like she was annoyed. "I need to talk to you." I forced my voice through clenched teeth. "Where the hell were you?" She exhaled, tossing her purse onto the couch like this was any other evening. "I was making arrangements." "For what?" My hands curled into fists. She smoothed her hair back, her expression unreadable. "For my future. For our daughter's future." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Our daughter? You mean the one you abandoned 3 days ago?" She didn't even flinch. "I didn't abandon her. I knew she was safe with you." My breath came sharp and uneven. "So what? You were testing me? Seeing if I was a good babysitter while you ran off? To your European prince?" Something flickered in her eyes. Anger, maybe. Or regret. Then it was gone. "This isn't working." Her voice was smooth, rehearsed. "You and I both know it. You can't provide the life I want, and I refuse to keep living like this." I felt like I had been hit by a truck. "What the hell are you talking about?" She lifted her chin. "I'm leaving, and I'm taking Lily with me." The room tilted. "Like hell, you are." She crossed her arms. "Do you really want to do this here? Now? You think you can just take my daughter to another country because some rich asshole promised you a penthouse?" Her lips curled. "I think I'm giving her a better future than you ever could." I took a step toward her. "Say that again." She didn't. We stood there, the air between us buzzing with something dangerous. Then she scoffed, grabbed her purse, and walked to the door. "I'll send the divorce papers." "Go to hell." She didn't even look back. She just left. Not just me, but our daughter, too. That night, I sat in Lily's room, watching her sleep. She clutched her stuffed rabbit, tiny fingers, wrapped around its worn ear. She had no idea what had happened. No idea her mother had just walked out of her life. Tears blurred my vision, but I didn't let them fall. I had one job now. Protect Lily, keep her safe, and never, never let her mother take her away. No matter what it took. Time didn't heal everything, but it numbed it. I didn't think about her much anymore. My life became simple. Work, Lily, sleep, repeat. Mornings were chaotic, rushing to get my daughter fed and dressed before daycare. Evenings were quiet, filled with bedtime stories and her tiny arms wrapped around my neck. She asked about her mother at first. "When is Mommy coming back? Is Mommy mad at me? Did Mommy forget us?" I never knew what to say, so I told her the only thing I could. "Mommy's gone, but Daddy's here." And eventually she stopped asking. We found our rhythm until the phone rang. It was late. Lily was asleep, curled up with her stuffed rabbit, her soft breathing the only sound in the apartment. I was on the couch, half asleep, when my phone buzzed and dialed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Hello?" The line crackled. Then a sound I barely recognized. Sobbing, deep, ragged, desperate. "Please?" I sat up. "Who is this?" A shaky breath. Then, "It's me." My whole body tensed. "Please don't hang up," she whispered. I need your help." I should have ended the call. I should have told her to go to hell, but something in her voice, the raw terror, the brokenness, made my grip tighten around the phone. "What happened?" I asked, my voice like ice. And then, through gasping, stuttering breaths, she told me. She had left for a dream. She ended up in a nightmare. Marcello wasn't who he said he was. Her voice cracked. He trafficked women, lured them in with promises, then took everything. She had been taken straight from the airport. No luxury apartment, no champagne by the sea, instead, a locked room, no passport, no phone, no escape. I tried to fight. I tried. She choked on a sob. They drugged me, broke me. I closed my eyes, my grip on the phone so tight my knuckles ached. How did you get out? A long pause, then a whisper. Someone bought me. I nearly dropped the phone. What? One of them. A client. He took pity on me. He got me out. Got me to an embassy. Silence stretched between us. I felt sick. I hated her. I hated her for what she had done to me, to our daughter. But no one deserved that. I should have told her no. But the next night she was standing outside my door. I almost didn't recognize her. Her hair was limp, unwashed. Her face was gaunt, skin stretched too tight over sharp cheekbones. Dark circles under her eyes. She wasn't wearing makeup. I couldn't remember the last time I had seen her without it. She looked small. She clutched her arms like she was trying to hold herself together. Her voice cracked. I don't have anywhere else to go. I should have slammed the door. But Lily's voice rang in my head. Is Mommy mad at me? I stepped aside. She flinched like she expected me to hit her. I didn't. I just let her in. She sat on the couch, staring at her hands. I didn't offer her food, didn't ask if she needed anything. I just stood there, arms crossed, waiting. Say what you need to say, I told her. She swallowed. I don't expect you to forgive me. Good. I was stupid. Selfish. Her voice shook. I thought I deserved more, that I was meant for something better. And instead Her breath hitched. I ruined everything. I didn't say anything. Because what was there to say? I know you hate me, she whispered. I hate me too. She finally lifted her eyes to mine. But please, let me see her. The air in the room froze. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was insane. You think you can just walk back in here and be her mother again? She's my daughter, she said, her voice desperate. She was your daughter, I corrected, before you walked away from her. Tears streamed down her face, but I felt nothing. Please, she whispered. I thought of Lily, asleep in the next room, the nights she had cried for her mother, the way she had stopped asking about her. I thought of everything this woman had destroyed, and I shook my head. No. She flinched like I had struck her. She deserves to know the truth, she said. No, I said again. She deserves to be happy. And you? You don't deserve to be anywhere near her. She covered her mouth, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. Please, she choked. I have nothing left. I stared at her, the woman I had once loved, now just a shadow of a person, and I gave her the truth. You made your choice, and now you have to live with it. She collapsed into herself, breaking apart right there on my couch. I didn't comfort her. I didn't say another word. I just turned and walked away. Some wounds never heal. Some betrayals don't deserve second chances. She cried on my couch for what felt like hours. I didn't comfort her. I didn't say a damn word. I just sat across from her, arms crossed, watching the woman I had once loved unravel into a sobbing mess. The same woman who had looked me in the eyes and told me I wasn't enough. The same woman who had called me a failure. The same woman who had packed her bags, boarded a plane, and never looked back. I waited for something. Anger, sadness, regret, maybe even the old familiar love, but there was nothing left inside me. Only emptiness. She lifted her head, her face blotchy, eyes swollen. I don't deserve forgiveness. I know that. I didn't argue. She swallowed hard. But Lily... I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. Lily doesn't know you exist anymore. She flinched. She asked about you for a while, I continued, my voice steady, emotionless. Cried at night. Wanted to know why you left. Tears welled up in her eyes again, but I wasn't finished. But she stopped asking. She stopped waiting. I paused. And I'm not bringing you back into her life just to break her all over again. She shook her head, her breath coming in gasps. I wouldn't hurt her. I swear. You already did. She blinked, her hands gripping the fabric of her jeans like she was holding herself together. I want to see her, just once, please. I exhaled sharply, shaking my head. No. A small, broken sob slipped past her lips. She's my daughter. No. She reached for me, but I pulled away. She's not your daughter. Not anymore. Her breath hitched, her body folding in on itself. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, I cut her off. You made your choice. You left. You wanted something better, remember? She squeezed her eyes shut, a fresh wave of tears streaming down her face. I watched, unmoved. How do you think she'd feel, I said, my voice sharper now, knowing her mother chose to disappear, that she ran away for a fantasy and only came back when it all fell apart? She covered her face with shaking hands. I won't let you do that to her, I said. She's happy, she's safe, and she doesn't need you. She gasped like I had punched her. You can't just erase me. I tilted my head. I didn't have to. You did that yourself. She broke. Her body trembled with sobs, her hands digging into her scalp as she rocked back and forth. I should have felt something. Anything. But I didn't. I stood up. She looked up at me, eyes wild with desperation. Please, I have nothing left. I stared down at her. Once, she had everything, and she threw it away. That's not my problem, I said. She let out a choked sob. I have nowhere to go. I shrugged. You had a home, I said. You had a husband, a daughter, a life. Her breath hitched. And you left, I finished. That was your choice. Now live with it. Her face crumpled, her shoulders shaking violently. She reached out a trembling hand, but I stepped back. Goodbye, I said. And then I turned. I didn't look back. Not when she collapsed onto the floor. Not when her sobs echoed through the apartment. Not when she whispered my name like a prayer, like a curse, like a plea for mercy. I walked away. I locked the door behind me. And for the first time since she left, I felt free. That night, I sat by Lily's bed watching her sleep. Her tiny fingers curled around her stuffed rabbit, her lips slightly parted, her chest rising and falling in soft, even breaths. She was safe, loved, whole. I leaned down, pressing a kiss to her forehead. I'm here, I whispered. I'll always be here. And that was all that mattered. Some wounds never heal, some betrayals don't deserve second chances, and some people, they stay gone.